So talk to me about the being gender fluid, because I'll be honest, I don't know much about that.
Mm-hmm. Okay, well, being gender fluid, it's like, it kind of came from a realization that I was like I said, we're gonna go back to the burlesque persona things, which in reality are reflections of parts of my personality. So I have like three of them, and they're like the all encompassing of like different, a heavy section of who I am as a person. So I have a gold, and that's its name, um, and it's a he, which is where I was like, okay, I definitely can apply this to me as a person because I don't always feel like a female. Like sometimes if I could Mr. Potato Head pop my tits off, 100% would. Like it's fucking ridiculous. Like not an annoyance, just like in a body dysmorphia factor. Like I want a flat chest. Like sometimes like your entire physique. Like I wish I had a physique like that. I wish I had a more masculine presence rather than having like tits and a feminine presence, which is kind of like where that started from. And then eventually I'm like, since I was like younger, I was like, I always like used to think, I'm like, what is it like to fuck with a dick? I'm like, I want to know what it's like to fuck someone with a dick. Guy or girl, I don't fucking care, but I'm like, I wonder what it's like. And I used to like theorize what it was like. I'm like, sometimes I wish I had a dick. Like, I don't want to do a full, like, because I'm fluid, I'm not like, I am a dude. Like, that's not what it is. It's like, sometimes I'm like, I think I'm more like presenting and feeling masculine like a man in comparison to being like, obviously biologically, I'm like a female. So, but that's what binders are for and tape are for. So there's gonna be days where I'm probably gonna be like not feeling like a woman, and I'm gonna be like, I feel more like a man today. I feel more masculine today. I'm gonna like tape my titties back and wear a suit in comparison to me always wearing dresses and wearing a lot of jewelry and makeup. And there's gonna be some days where I'll probably be straight in the fucking middle, and I'm just gonna be like I'm here. So that's kind of like where that came from, was just slow realizations. I'm like, when I kind of like came to that conclusion, I also follow people on TikTok. Like at first I thought this was like normal to think of, but as I followed more people on TikTok who were gender fluid, and they kind of talked about how they felt about themselves and how they're like, it was specifically this one TikTok, and I remember that's when it fucking like hit the gas on the whole thought process. Was I don't remember what their name is on TikTok, but they're hilarious. But they do a very big like, I'm gender fluid, my masculine version, my feminine, me as a man, me as a woman, and they have both of those. And it was a conversation with themselves, and it was like me thinking like I want to get like breast reduction completely surgery, like cut them off completely, and then the other side of me is like, but I like having boobs. And I'm like, holy shit, I've never felt so relatable to an entire like conversation in my life. So it started from that, and then it was like I saw more things, and I talked to people who are non-binary or things like that, and I'm like, definitely don't think I don't feel right saying that I'm like, oh yeah, I identify as she her, because that just never sat right with me. Like even before I realized I'm like, oh, I'm gender fluid, it was like they, them, she, her. And then when I'm like, I kind of realize I'm like, he also is fine with me, she is also fine with me, they is also fine with me. Like, it's a constantly fluctuating thing for me, the fluidity of being like gender fluid. And like, I've told like my friends, I've told quite a few people, the people that in casual conversation, I'm like, oh yeah, I came to a conclusion, I think I'm gender fluid. So that's a thing. And they're like, good for you. Thank you for coming out to me. I'm like, you're welcome. I'm like, just a thing that I came to realize as of late. So when you spend a lot of time with your thoughts and like gender identity, like when I was younger, I definitely don't think, like, I've always wanted to be more masculine and always wanted to be more masculine presenting. Like the feeling of being masculine is very comforting, and to present that way is even more comforting at times. In comparison to right now, where I'm much more feminine presenting. And so like it started there. Didn't really think too much about it, because you have the tomboys and things like that of like the youth, but it stuck. Like some days I'm like, fuck, I just want to go out in cargo pants and flip flops, and I wish I didn't have tits. Like, I want to look like a
Are
dad.
are cargo pants masculine?
I feel like cargo pants are masculine.
That's
Maybe
the
that's
thing.
not.
I don't know.
I don't think I've ever seen a fucking woman identifying person wear cargo pants. Correct
I've
me if
seen
I'm
I've
wrong.
seen women hiking wear cargo pants for sure.
Oh yeah, no, I'll just wear them casually to the grocery store, to
I'm in
wherever.
cargo pants right now.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah,
This is casual. This is
this is like
different.
90% of
It's
my
just, like,
attire.
men will wear cargo pants anywhere. Women will wear cargo pants where it's the correct situation. Sometimes I'm like, fuck it, I'm gonna go grocery store in cargo pants. Fuck it, I'm gonna go out and hang out with my friends in cargo pants. And
But
I'm
does
like,
that make you masculine if you just wanted to fucking wear
it
cargo
makes
pants?
me feel more masculine. It doesn't actually make anybody more or less masculine, but for me, wearing cargo pants, taping my fucking titties as far as it goes, a t-shirt, a dad hat, and having my hair up as, like, tight as it can possibly go, because I don't want to really cut my hair off. Like, I'm very happy with my hair. So, like, it by default doesn't actually make anybody really more masculine or feminine, but it's how I want to feel more masculine in my own masculinity and, like, identifying as a man at times. So, kind of how that goes.
What do you mean by like this idea of feeling more masculine? Like feeling like a man? Like what does that entail to you when you say that?
It's like,
Cuz I'm sitting here and I'm thinking like I don't know, like I hear that's a common phrase people say is like I feel more masculine. I'm sitting here like I don't know what that means. And,
well,
like I don't obviously I'm a man.
Yeah, that's the thing,
but I
though.
don't like I don't know what how it would feel to be masculine.
Have you ever, like, had a feeling of, well, obviously, I mean, do you identify as a man? Like, you just straight identify, you're like, I'm a man.
Yeah.
Okay, and you're biologically a man.
Yeah.
So, and you've never really felt, like, a feminine type of energy and feminine type of, like, feeling.
But see, I don't know what that means because, like, I don't know what it's like to be a woman.
But the thing is, you've never felt like a woman. So it's really hard to explain.
Yeah, so that's what I'm saying. How would I know if I felt like a woman because I don't know how a woman feels?
That's the thing. You just kind of fucking, like, no. I don't really know how to describe it. Like, it's very interesting because it's like, for me, my, like, how I emotionally feel when I'm in a more masculine presenting isn't very much different than how I am as a person. Obviously, I'm not, like, fucking completely personality shifting or anything like that. But, like, how I feel like I want to present myself and, like, the energy that I'm holding being in that masculine space and being a man, I'm just, like, much more, like, grounding and much more, like, I don't know how to really describe it. It's very interesting. But, like, it's just the feeling of being a man and being more masculine, I suppose. Some people think it kind of feeds into, like, what the stereotype of masculinity is sometimes to a degree, and I've heard that be stated before. But it's like...
Well, it sounds like it's definitely very visual. Like there's an attachment to outward expression. Like you said, cargo shorts, dad hat, biting your chest.
Yeah, that's definitely, like, the casual look for me in comparison to how I usually would like to present myself. It's like, I like the clean cut suit look. I don't want to have tits. I just don't want to have them at all. If I could get rid of them but have them back when I wanted to, I wish I could, but I can't because that's not exactly a risk. We can't just Mr. Potato pop your titties off and pop them back on. So, like, suit, I like the more colorful clean cut suit look. Like, I wish I didn't have tits. I wish I had more of, like, a flatter chest, something that's more, like, angular and more muscular. Like, physically, I want to look more like a man and what a man looks like. Like you, or like my partner, or, like, any masculinely presenting and identifying man is kind of where that feeling comes from. Like, it comes with a feeling that leads me in that direction. So, and it's always been present. Like, it's been, like, present on and off throughout my life, and that's why I'm like, okay, it's fluidity. It's not like I'm trans. So, because, like, I enjoy wearing dresses and I enjoy looking more feminine presentation to what society, I guess, determines is, like, feminine in comparison. So, it kind of goes into this, like, idea of, like, so what society determines is, like, what's feminine and what's masculine, and that's always going to be a thing, unfortunately. But, like, when I see men in magazines, for example, or I see, like, very attractive men, like, part of it's, like, a sexual attraction, but the other part of it's, like, I want to look like that. Like, that's what I want to look like. It's the same, like, obviously not exactly like that, because it's not possible, because some of those men have had cosmetic, like, adjustments, and, they go to the gym, and they're, like, personal trainer, and they're cut and swole as fuck. Not possible. But this feeling of like, when you look at something and it's like, it has an energy around it. Like there's a masculine energy around it, kind of. Like there's a feeling of like what energy is kind of tied to being a man to a degree. And like I said, it's going back into like a stereotypical kind of a field, but it's like that is kind of the energy I kind of begin to feel from when I look at myself and I'm like, I'm what I want to look like right now. Like that feeling, those like feelings of what it's like to be a dude. So, in comparison to when I look like a chick and I'm like, I'm wearing a dress, I think I look hot, I think I look great, I think I look beautiful, you know. So,
If we took out the visual aspect and say there were no gender stereotypes of, oh, men wear this and women wear these clothes, how would it, if you tried to put it into words, how would it be without the clothing aspect?
like how I would present
Yeah, so
myself as
like
a
if we
man.
all just say nobody wore clothes, there were no clothes, and it was like you felt this because I've gotten, I wouldn't say masculine energy, but like I've been around women who have, I guess you could say like I guess you could say a masculine presence. I don't know if I would say that, but they feel, I don't know, because people are so different. So you can be around one person who has this energy, whatever it is, and then go around somebody else and they have one that's completely different, regardless if they're the same gender or if they're not.
Mhm.
You know what I mean?
Mhm. Yeah,
I'm not trying to badger you or anything. I
no, no,
just
no, no, no.
like
I'm trying to
I'm
like
fat,
answer
like
your
I'm
question.
super interested.
It's just a really weird thing to try to explain
Yeah,
to a
no, I get
cis
that. That's why I'm like,
man.
okay,
It's like
how
very
would you
weird.
put it? Because I'm like, I totally, I get it, but like I don't get it. So it's like, how put it into words?
It's
Help me
hard to describe.
understand.
I don't really know how to describe it other
Yeah,
than like
because it sounds like it's very visual, is
my
what I'm getting.
expression is very visual.
Yeah,
How do I
so I'm trying to
express
see.
this feeling that I'm having when
Yeah,
I'm
if we
identify
got
as a
rid of the
man?
visual aspect, is it like? Because I don't know what a masculine presence. Like, what does it mean to be a man? What does it mean to be a woman? What does it mean to be a man?
Well, yeah, I mean, we're gonna take that question off the table because if we're going like plain off of just like what it is and not trying to go off of like stereotypes or putting any of the labels, because when you look at like masculine energy, feminine energy, we're still putting stereotypes on what labels those two things what they are. It's like, I don't know. You just literally like you exist, you function as you are, and you're just like, It's the thing of like, I biologically don't want tits. I biologically don't want a pussy right now. Like, I just don't want it. I wish I had the opposite. So, if you were to kind of look at it like that, I can't do that. I can't go and like, for me in my situation, like, I can't, fortunately, I can't like switch a fucking switch and just have a penis all of a sudden. So, I'm like, well, when I do feel like that, like when I'm like, I want to be a man, I want to be biologically a dude right now. Like, how can I like compensate for that feeling that I'm currently having? Because eventually, I'm going to go back and I'm going to feel like I'm a woman, and in which, or I'm going to identify as a lady at that time. I guess I'd like to say feel like a woman, feel like a man, because it's like it comes in these like very intense amount of feelings for me. So for me being a woman, it's like, okay, I biologically obviously have all the parts of what it is to like biologically be a lady. I put on whatever it is I put on to represent what I want to represent. Like, that's why when it comes to me feeling like a man and wanting to be a man at that time, it's like, if we were all naked, if we're expressing ourselves the way we want to, like, for example, like, unfortunately, clothes and, how we appear, that's how it is. And it's just very weird because it's like, how do you express it if you didn't have those things? It's like you really can't. I
Well,
mean, you can,
I mean,
as
they're
in
like,
like,
if you took the very basic ones, like there are men very like Jason Momoa has long hair, which you could say is like a feminine quality, long
mm-hmm,
hair, but the dude's jacked, definitely shredded guy.
uh-huh,
Or you could look at someone like, some skinny dude that's got a buzz cut, that's fresh out of basic training, who's like not defined, doesn't look very masculine, but has short hair like a guy would, I guess.
mm-hmm. I
I don't know,
don't,
is that a good example or is that a bad
no, it's
one?
like a fine example. It's like, that's just like back to the physical appearance,
I
is
know, how
that,
do you strip, cuz what does it mean to be a man? Or what does it mean to be a woman? Like, I obviously, like, having the parts plays into it, but does it? Because, I mean, it does, but does it?
It's like the parts, your biological parts don't play a part in it, period. If you do not feel like if you are like, I am not a man, like if in my circumstances, if I wasn't gender fluid and I was trans,
Mm.
and I was like, I'm not a woman, I'm a man. Inside, I'm a man, period. Like, what do people go through to go to that process? How do they change to be able to feel right in their skin? Because it's like you don't feel right in your skin
Yeah.
when you don't identify with your own like biological body parts. And that's the thing though, is like it's changeable. It's unfortunately very expensive and it's fucking hard. And it's like it's a whole process and it's difficult. You could go through testosterone, you can go through estrogen, you can take hormones, like all these things. Like there's so many things you can do to kind of adjust and to identify more biologically as that, because it is fucking awful to be in your skin and to be like, this isn't like physically, this is not who I am, like, or who I like, how I want to be, because inside I feel this way, but like obviously physically and how I was born was not the way I should be.
I think that's the concept that I'm trying to grasp at here, because if I said I feel like a woman, I don't know what that means personally, because like I don't know how a woman feels. Like I only know how I feel. Even if you took out the sex of it, I only know how I don't know how you feel. If there was a guy sitting right there, I don't know how he feels. I know how I feel.
Mm-hmm.
So when people say that, I'm always like, what is that? Like, what does that mean?
It's